Another exciting episode of everyone's favorite pitch practice,
The
the
show. We're
show.
here again, 8 o'clock at night, ready for bed.
What'd you say? I didn't even hear you, Brandon. What was that?
You
Come
gotta turn up,
again.
you gotta turn up your sound, man.
You're
It's eight
right. You're
o'clock
right. You're right.
at night, and I'm ready for bed.
Oh my gosh, Brandon, this is the best time to come on. Everyone out there watching, welcome to today's episode. We've got an exciting chapter to go over today. We're still into deep dive into 10x is easier. Oh shit, where's my book? Where's my book? 10x is
Uh,
easier than 2x. Remind me of that. We're almost at the end of this book, Brandon. We've got one chapter left, which means that we've got to decide our next book. Did we already have an idea? Did we get any input from all you out there watching? Give us a hashtag live if you're watching live. Hashtag, we know you're watching on the replay, so give us some comments down in the in a comment section down there. You're gonna want to stick around for today's episode because it's an amazing episode that it really blew my mind in this chapter where we learned about that phrase that you've heard time and time again, that what do we all have in common with some of the highest performers. I've heard this before where they'll say that, well, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. Well, if that's the case, then how is it that the highest and top performers always seem to get the most done in the least amount of time? Today, Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan throw that out the window. They throw that whole concept out the window that we can all they argue that what he argues in this chapter is that not everyone's 24 hours is created the same. What about that, Brandon?
I don't know. I slightly disagree because everybody has the same 24 hours is what you do in that time.
Uh-huh.
What's going to separate you? And they talked a lot about that whole 80-20 principle again when it comes to the time aspect of it. 20% of anything is going to drive 80% of your income. So, you got to bank every day, $24, 24 hours every day. And how many dollars are you going to get out of the bank and put to work to give you more dollars? And so it's focusing on the things that matter during those 24 hours. Obviously, 8 of them you got to sleep. So you actually have less than that. But focusing on doing the right things during the last was 24 minus 8, 16 during the day is what's going to separate you from your competition.
Well, some would argue that you don't need 8 hours of sleep either.
I know. I heard what's his name? The dude, the Family Feud guy. I can't think of his name right now. Says,
Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey said, if you're sleeping 8 hours a day, you're not gonna make it, or something like that. I don't know. He said something crazy like that. It's like, you can't make it on sleeping 8 hours a day. I'm like, well, you can, but you can't. Because if you're not well rested, your mind isn't going to work right, your body isn't going to work right, and you won't be able to function properly the last 16 hours of the day to make it.
Yeah, man. Oh my gosh, that's so interesting because it's easy because you say that you think that without getting any sleep that you could be more productive and get more done, but Ben Hardy actually argues the opposite. And he argues in this chapter that there is, well, we'll get into it, but he talks about the 3 types of times that you do need to delegate yourself to get the most. And one of those is time for rest and rejuvenation. Man, he gave it got real cerebral.
Mm-hmm.
But But I love the examples that he gave as far as the rest and rejuvenation is concerned. He talked about LeBron James. Remember that example, and about how LeBron James has been able to have this longevity in his body. Look at the age he is, and he's still out there really taking a beating, but he focuses on recovery. And that's a man. We're just getting right into it this week. Before we get into it,
Hold on.
Brent,
Let me ask you one question. So how many days we got in a week?
how many days do we have in a week?
Yeah, how many days we got in a week?
Or is this a joke? Because you're gonna say 5 days and then the
No.
weekend?
No. How many days we got in a
Okay.
week?
How many days in a week? It
Yep.
depends. It depends on what do you consider a day. Is
No,
a
it doesn't.
day
There's only 7 days in a week, Mark. It's Sunday through Saturday.
okay?
That's
Okay.
it. There's only 7 days in a week. All right?
Okay, so it's not a trick question.
No, that's it. It's 7 days in a week. And how many
Okay,
days are
okay.
we supposed to take for rest? Supposed to take at
How
least
many
one.
days? How many days should
How many days are we supposed to take for rest? At least
what?
one. At least one day for rest. And what percentage of that of the week?
Wait a minute. Look what our
Yeah, I
Facebook
saw that.
user says.
I saw that. Everybody needs sleep. Don't let anybody kid you that you don't need sleep. It's literally
I'll sleep enough. Yeah, I
one day
agree.
of rest during the week is literally 20% of the week. So if you do the 80-20 deal, 80% you're working, 20% you're resting, and then flip it during the other times, then you'll be well balanced and you'll be perfectly fine and fully functioning.
Okay. Let's talk about that. Let's unpack that too. But before we really got into it,
And
I'm
it's
Mark.
actually 14%. But you know, what's 6%? That's the naps that you take during the rest of the week.
Yes, I just want to because we've got before we get into it, because it's like, man, this book has really had some revelations. But before we get into that, I want to take some time because we got a lot of new people out there watching. Let's take a little bit of time and just let everyone know who we are. I'm Mark, the guy behind the Mental Marketer and the private Facebook group Funnel Building 101. I'm helping business owners and entrepreneurs out there just like you to grow an online business and build the lifestyle business of your dreams using sales funnels and online marketing. We do have an online membership area. It's called the Mental Marketer Blueprint. You can find details on how to become a member there. We're building out some amazing resources for all of our online entrepreneurs out there. Oh my gosh, Brandon, it's like I love it because we meet here every week and then it's like we take a trip around the world and we come back and we've got so many more exciting things to talk about. And if everything can't fit in this little 30 minutes, but for you, Brandon, my business is called The Mental Marketer. Why The Mental Marketer? Because my passion is in sales and marketing, and I also have a passion for personal development, success, leadership. So I created the name The Mental Marketer as a combination, as a way to bring both of those passions that I have together, and thus the Mental Marketer was born. Now I ask because I think I found out something interesting about BKXX there, about what's the story behind BKXX, Brandon?
It's just named after my family. So it's going to be a family business, legacy business, moving on and forward. It's starting off in the internet space, you know, with the affiliate marketing and getting that foundation laid, then moving into the freelance space and helping local businesses, you know, get traffic and get the most out of their sales funnels and selling processes for their business so they can either exit or two, you know, pass it down to their family. And then the third is going to be real estate. So that's the game plan. So one's going to fund the other, that's going to fund the other, and keep it going.
Awesome.
A true enterprise business.
Yes, yes, yes. We're all out there watching. If you're out there watching and you are more than likely probably you're on social media. So you're scrolling through and you fall up on our video. And what are we actually talking about? Well, we talk about strategies and learnings and things to show you how to get the most from your marketing campaigns or any way that you're trying to bring people into your world to get your product and service out to them. And that's what we do. If you'd like to follow us for more information, make sure to check around this video for those links. And we're going to get into it today. Pitch practice. And I got the very first thing that I want to get into about this book. 10x is easier than 2x. It's an important thing that one of the most important points about going 10x and not being 2x. And that is a misconception. Being busy is not how you become world class. That's what we learned in today's chapter. I think that some people, and even myself, Brandon, sometimes you think that just because you're doing things that you're doing things. That's not true.
Yeah, busy work doesn't move the needle. It's the income producing activity is what's going to make you world class. So, I mean, if you're in sales, clicking off tasks in your CRM, busy work, is it needed? Yes, but it's not going to move the needle forward, right? So you actually have to be on the call and speaking to people. That's the income producing activity that needs to happen to become world class.
Yeah. And I think that this is at the center of how, we say that everyone has the same 24 hours, but we all don't get the same results with that same 24 hours. In the book, I love the example that he gave, and the example that he gave, and this was about our relationship to time and what we've learned about or what we've been taught in the traditional public education system. And he gave the example about traveling across the United States in the 1800s, where pioneers spent 8 to 12 months traveling from one side of the country to the other side. And today, that same territory can be covered, same distance can be covered in 4 to 6 hours on an airplane. So you have to consider, what vehicle you're using and how are you using that 24 hours that you have? And are you getting the most out of that 24 hours? Or are you walking from one side to the other? And I want to ask, and this is for you out there as well. I want to ask you, what are some things that people spend time doing that isn't moving needle in their business? What are some of the things that you can think of, Brandon?
Spending too much time in research, thinking that you have to know everything before you actually get started. That was a huge thing for myself when I started getting started. I was just busy learning without actually taking any action, implementing the concepts being learned. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't learn something, but you can't learn everything and then get started. Sometimes you have to just get started and fail to learn along the way.
Get started and start failing, right? It's funny, sometimes, sometimes you put these things in front of you, and those things that are in front of you that you do, the only reason you do them is to avoid doing the bad thing, or to avoid doing the thing that you don't want to do,
Yeah.
like cold call.
Yeah. Absolutely hate cold calling, but it's the thing that needs to be done. And I'm trying to train the mind and I don't know, hypnotize myself to that thought of the thing that you hate doing the most, or the thing that I should say I hate doing the most, is the thing that I should be doing all the time.
Yeah, yeah. I think there was a book written. It was called, what was it? Eat the Frog, Eat That Frog. Have you ever heard of that before?
No.
Well, I think that, well, the concept of it was, when you have a list of things to do, you want to do the toughest thing first. Sometimes I have a tendency myself to make avoid that tough thing and then start to do busy work. But reading this chapter is really teaching me and showing me that in order to get that 10x result, you need to do those things that actually moving the needle, and
Mhm.
not just that busy work.
Mhm.
Um,
And the days when I'm on, it always starts with just making that first phone call. Uh, it kind of gets you warmed up, regardless on if they actually pick up the phone or not. Just making that first dial, that it was like, all right, we're dialing today. Let's just get it going. And the days that I don't even make that single attempt on making that dial and just focusing on trying to connect on LinkedIn and sending those messages out, they don't feel as good as they did when I actually made a dial out to try to get in contact with somebody.
yeah, yeah. What's anything else that you have personal experience with procrastination,
I,
not eating
procrast-
that frog?
I procrastinate all day, every day. There's always something that I'm putting on. In fact, I got the mother-in-law coming in tonight, and I'm probably gonna be at the last minute cleaning up the office slash guest room here to make sure it's accommodable for her and it doesn't look like a mess. So um, I've always worked under pressure, so to speak. I don't know, something about it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I want to give a little everyone a little bit of insight, because we are in the second half. So in this second half, it's been really all about the application of 10x and how to apply these principles in your own daily life. And what are the little things that you can tweak here and there that will help you to get more out of your time and do 10x, get 10x results instead of the 2x results. Now, in this chapter, I'm going to talk about it. He talked about the three different times. He said that that you can 10x your performance with three different types of days. And he broke it down into, let me see here. So he broke it down into two types of days. He called them, what did he call them? Let's see here. He called the three different types of days. Here we are: performance days, practice days, and rejuvenation days. Do you separate your days? He had some interesting philosophies in this chapter about scheduling 150 days of relaxation, and he talked about scheduling this throughout the entire year. Coincidence, maybe a coincidence, but we are right at the beginning of the year, and I happened to see Russell Brunson. I saw like a reel or something from him, and he talked about what he was going for this year. He was like, so here's a couple of things that he said, Brandon. He said that this year he's going for over 250,000 registered users for ClickFunnels. 250,000. He said he was going for over 25,000 members in the Secrets of Success membership area. And then He talked about what goal this year being to deepen his relationship with his wife and kids, deepen each of those relationships. And one thing that I didn't overlook, he said that the goal is to take 12 vacations this year. 12 vacations, Brandon.
That'd be nice. Yeah, that's 1 week a month, depending on how long and what he considers a vacation. But if you think about it, 150 days a year isn't a lot. 3-day weekends every weekend is 156 days. So, let's say 3 of those weekends out of the 52, you don't take 3 days off, for the weekend. You just take the 2 days for the weekend. So you work, an additional 3 Fridays. That's not hard. I mean, everybody talks about the 4-day work week and how they want to, only work 4 days a week or 3 days a week or whatever. Well, if you do the 20% that you need to do to move the needle, get the income that you need, you can work 3 to 4 days a week and still, have the income you want. But it's going to take more than you alone to do it. You have to have the help and the support behind you. And that's where he's getting at in this book is setting up those systems and processes and doing the right things so that you can be out of the office and not having to work and having your team carry the load and do the tasks that they've been assigned to do. I mean, teamwork makes the dream work. They always say it. So, set yourself up, get the team in there, take your 3 days off for the weekend and enjoy, actually 156 days off for the year and do better than what the 10X book says, right?
Right. So how good are you at that right now?
Terrible, because I don't have any I don't have any support behind me just yet. I don't have any operators in my business. I'm working as an operator for health and wellness coach and getting them launched and set up, and then reaping those rewards, and then be starting another project for them. But as far as an operator for my business, I am the operator, and that does make it tough. So I just got to be willing to let go, and then find that trusting person to come in behind and at least run the sales op of it to where I come up with a strategy and do the things that need to be done.
Right. I had a conversation with someone, and I think it's a mentality. It is. We're both entrepreneurs, and I know you have a set time that you are going to be focused on building those funnels. That's going to be your focus time. That's going to be your time that you've set aside. Sometimes that ends up being this time of night.
Yeah, like you're cutting into my funnel time right now, to be honest with
you. Yeah, but as entrepreneurs, our schedules are different. And I was speaking with someone, and they were like, "Oh no, I'm available from 8 to 5." And I'm like, "Okay, that is just not, being an online entrepreneur today, you've got people that you're working with from all over the world. So sometimes you might make accommodations, and your work might end up being at different times of night, not just a straight 8 to 4 schedule." So when he talks about, okay, performance days, practice days, and rejuvenation days, all of my days right now, they're probably a combination of everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's probably a combination of performance, practice, and rejuvenation. And I love when he talked about, well, he gave an example of how to do each day. And with each day on your performance days is those days when you're dialed in. And then the practice days, he gave the example when the famous quote from your friend Allen Iverson: practice. We're talking about practice. But then he gave the example he gave 2 examples, and I want to I want to actually read an excerpt from the book about those focus days, and then I want to actually give everybody out there listening some 3 tips that he gave on in the book in this chapter on how to get more out of your focus days. How to get more out of your focus days. 3 tips. Now, the tip that he gave on practice, well, the story he told about practice was the story of he told a basketball story. Um, Anthony, excuse me, Anthony Davis
Mm-hmm.
from the Lakers and Nikola Jokic from the Denver Nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he gave the example about how I think it was 2018 when Anthony Davis was so much better than Nikola Jokic in a playoff battle or something, and it looked like Davis was on the uphill, uh, trajectory. But however, 2 years later, Nikola Jokic dominated dominated Davis, and it was because of his practice routine and his dedication to that art of practice. I don't think that people, what's the name of this show?
Fit practice, where we're always practicing something. So we're either practicing self-development, sales, or whatever we need to do, copywriting, whatever the thing that's going to move our needles forward. That's what we got to be practicing and moving it forward.
Right, right. And it's practice that creates those incremental changes where you can actually see those 10x results. And might not happen overnight. And when we look at this book, none of the stories that he talks about, or none of the stories that he presents about someone taking that 10x leap happening overnight. People tend to think that I'm going to practice this week, and next week I'm going to be 10 times better.
Mm-hmm. No, can definitely agree to that, because it's taken years to kind of get to where I'm at. To just have that little trickle coming in on the affiliate side. Granted, I haven't focused 100% on it, but for what I've done, I'm just now starting to reap those rewards. And what we saw a post in the ClickFunnels group today, right? Don't get me started on that. Saw a post in the ClickFunnels group today. It was a gentleman winning quite the award for his efforts utilizing that software. And I've been following him for probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years now, and kind of
That's it.
seen. Well, I've only really been doing it for 3. It took me a year at least to find that person. So,
Oh,
uh,
okay, okay. I've
yeah,
I've seen him. I've seen him probably since like 2020. I think he might have been one of the first persons I've seen inside of the ClickFunnels. Well, yeah, I've seen him inside there.
yeah.
No,
Well,
go
I mean,
ahead.
I didn't get going until the end of 2020, right? So, um, anywho, and read the post. Good for this guy, $100 million earned through the software, but it didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen in a year. I think it was at least 5 to 6 years in the making for him to be able um, to toot that horn that he wanted. So there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that that you don't see to put people where they're at now. So never get jealous and upset somebody's flashing their 2 Comma Club award or their 10 CCX award or
Hmm.
whatever you want to call it. Other than the fact on how they might have gotten it, if you know what I mean. But it is what it is.
How they may have gotten it, even though well, it's this online world. It's full of I don't.
Let's just say there's tons of things to sell and they all work. It's just picking the vehicle that you want to stick with and going all in on it.
Right, right. And you see a lot of people out there. that may have started with the ClickFunnels software. And it seems like ClickFunnels is just like has their hands in a little bit of everyone's success.
Mm-hmm.
If there is one community, one software, one common denominator, and that just kind of everyone has some type of relation to, maybe they've had some type of dealing with. That's what I feel. Maybe it's just because of the world or the bubble that we're in that we see this, because there is, I think, ClickFunnels, but then Grant Cardone has a pretty good big audience. Tony Robbins, I think he has a pretty good following. And then I think some of Dean Graziosi, I think those are some of the real big people that I see. But then some people, I don't know, some people develop this, this okay, peace, see you later. I'm moving on to better things. That was when I was just starting out. Thanks. And you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, people grow, that's what they're supposed to do. So if that's where it takes them, that's where it takes them. Like I said, there's no reason to be mad or upset about it. It just kind of, I don't know, just one of the things. Like, sell what you use, right? So, taking it back to when I sold cars, I couldn't sell any other brand of car but Ford because I only drove Ford, right? But anyway, it doesn't matter. Good for him. And he used his time wisely and over the past, 5+ years and got the award. So it can happen really to anybody as long as you use that time right.
Congratulations. So that's a shout out there. Hashtag live if you're watching live, hashtag replay if you're watching on the replay. We're going to get to that special treat right now because I'm going to read an excerpt from the book. And I love this part here. I love this part here of the book. And this is the part where he was talking about the focus work, the work that you do, because he talked about performance days, practice days, and then the rejuvenation days. So this excerpt is about a recent interview with the sports commentator Colin Cowherd. You heard of Colin Cowherd? Think he's on ESPN. And he asked, he was in a, I guess it was a panel with him and ex-Super Bowl quarterback Trent Dilfer, and they were having a discussion about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, I think at the time, was one of the quarterbacks really new into the league. He was currently undefeated and the leading MVP candidate. So Colin Cowherd asked Trent Dilfer what he was seeing in Jalen Hurts about how well he was performing. And this is what he said. He said, I think what you're seeing is the product of a lot of lonely work. Jalen Hurts, I remember when he was 17 years old, he was mature like a 25-year-old. He's an old soul. He's an incredibly hard worker, and he's done a lot of the lonely work, the boring, monotonous stuff that no one gets credit for. You don't post it on Instagram. You don't post it on Twitter. You don't pat yourself on the back and say, look at me working hard. You just go to work and you work on the nuance of your game. You work on the techniques. You work on film study. You lock yourself in because you could be doing a lot of other things. You have a lot of money and a lot of fame, but instead you decide to do the hard thing, which is lock yourself in a room and study yourself, study your opponent, work on every aspect of your game. That was it. I thought that was so powerful about that, really that focused work, that work that you do that is going to get you that 10x results. That's the type of work that gets you from the eastern part of the country to the western part of the country in 4 hours flat instead of 18 hours like it would take the average person. I can't hear you, Brandon. Can't hear you. There's some noise. There's some buzzing noise. No. It sounds like it's a mic problem. Can you switch mics? Oh, no. Okay, the noise has gone down a little bit. Buzz has gone down. Okay, the buzz has gone away now, but I can't hear you.
You sure?
I do now.
All right, good.
All
I have
right.
to use my iPhone. I'm gonna have to use my iPhone as a microphone now.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on with the Yeti. I moved it and it probably messed something up. But no, it's good. I mean, you got to practice and study your people. Without studying your competition, you're not going to know what you're up against. You have no baseline to get better, right?
Yeah.
And that's and a lot of the trainings that I know we've done. I wouldn't say together, but we've taken the same trainings and courses. The first thing that we were told to do was to look up our competition and model what they're doing and then make it better. So it's definitely a good passage.
Yes. And what I want to do is, after reading that amazing chapter showing an example of how you can go from your regular 10x and really explode your growth, I want to give. So I'm sure you must be asking out there, how can I create more of these focus days? How can you create more of these days where you get more done in less time? And I love these tips. You know why I love these tips? Because I'm going to tell you that I struggled with them, and I really took this chapter into deep consideration, because one of these solutions really tapped into a problem or a roadblock that I have myself. So we're gonna show you three tips to create more focus in your days and get more done in less time. And that is number one. He says that you should create bigger blocks of open space for deep works. Tell us what this means for you.
And thinking about that, when I heard him say make more space on your calendar, it kind of went against my thought on the 10x rule, where white space is the devil. Now, depending on how you look at that and frame it, it's not really white space, because you're supposed to be doing something that's moving you forward, right? So you are dedicating that time. But in the sense for sales, right, when you have that sales mentality, you have to be doing something in the deal, closing the deal, talking to somebody. Not doing that can put your mind in places that it really shouldn't be going. Meaning you're not active. So if you're going to put that big block of space in there to do something in quotes, it better be something really good to keep the mind occupied. If not, again, white space on your calendar is the devil.
The devil. That's coming straight from Grant Cardone. Awesome. Create now. His second tip to create more focus days is no more than 3 personal objectives each day. I struggle with this, Brandon. I would find myself putting 5 things, okay, so for today, I have a to-do list, and I would find myself putting 6, 7 things on my list of things to do that day. And I would find some days that I wouldn't get them all done. And I was first introduced to this concept maybe less than a year ago, where they said, you know what? Only put 3 things on your to-do list every day. Because what's going to happen is you're not going to keep rolling things over to the next day. Do you ever do that? Do you make yourself a to-do list?
No, I need to. And I have this pretty cool software that I got access to from Russell's own mentor, Mark Joyner, and I really haven't been doing anything with it. It's called Simpleology.
That was from 2 years ago, right?
Maybe I got it long ago than that. But I actually spoke to Mark at Funnel Hacking Live, and he was like, "Just get in there and do the training and do it." And I didn't do it. But anyway, yes, I need to be doing it. I'm not doing it as far as writing and making lists. I'm not a list person. I know what I need to do, but maybe if I did write the list and actually check it off and being done, I'll feel a little bit more accomplished and then continue to do it, right? Because, inspect what you expect. And if you can see the progress and record it, then it'll be good, right?
Yes. And another point he makes here is that when it comes to planning your day, you're going for impact and progress, not busyness. And stay away from the busyness. Stay away from those busy little tasks that you can probably finish. Well, I don't, I get shiny object syndrome. I end up scrolling on social media and I see an ad that I really like. I saw an ad that I really liked recently, and I was like, whoa, I'll have to watch it or save it so I can come back. And then, you know what, man, did you see? I know you saw it, Brandon. Are you in any challenges this week? Are you in any challenges? I don't even know. I haven't asked you.
Nope, not this week.
You know that there was I know you saw that AI bot. Steve Larson.
Oh, yes, that one. Yeah, I mean, I saw the ad.
No, it wasn't an ad. It was a dramatic presentation. He did a dramatic presentation on his Facebook profile.
Yeah, I thought it was a sponsored deal, but yeah, I did see the deal where he was pitching his new challenge or whatever's coming up for I don't know, next week or the week after next.
No, it's going on this week. I know someone
this
who's
week.
in it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't know. I follow him, but like I said, there's only so many things that I can do and actually keep track of. I follow Steve, but doesn't mean I'm going to be jumping into all of his challenges in groups. I only got only got 24 hours in a day, right? So I got to use them wisely.
I know, right? And we have to sleep every now and then, right? But you didn't have an opinion about that little demonstration. It was I think in my opinion, it was a classic dramatic presentation, and especially when we talk about how him and Russell are those are the two heads behind the dramatic presentation when it comes to the linchpin model. They did a couple presentations on stage at Funnel Hacking Live about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I thought it was good. I watched probably about half of it or whatever because I thought he was actually pitching the software he was using or how to use that particular software in whatever else too that he's selling along with it. What he was using was Air AI, and yes, it was Air. It was Air. I'm signed up for Air, and I've heard the samplings of the voices, and I've been called by Air several times from other people trying to get me into their insurance worlds and things like that, because I guess that's propagating through the insurance ecosystem or whatever for either signing people up to be an agent or getting people appointments set for insurance. So no, it's great software. If you have the time to sit down and set it up and put your scripts in there and get it to call, and it's really cheap too. You're talking pennies on pennies for minutes to have this thing call out to your prospects.
Really, really, because he didn't have it calling out. Well, he had it calling you, and
Yeah,
you
he
would
said,
opt in. Uh-huh.
yeah, he said he had somebody set it up for him. He wasn't particularly using it because I messaged him or whatever on the back end after watching what I watched, and he kind of spilled the beans a little bit. Like he wasn't using it; he had somebody set it up for him to call out. So it was neat.
Ah, okay, okay, all right. I'm gonna have to get that from you. I really like that. It was completely AI conversation that seemed to really have an answer. I don't. It could have been staged. It could have been staged, just knowing the right questions to ask it. But the
When you
way
tell
he,
it, no,
huh?
it's AI driven, meaning it will follow the conversation that you're saying, but it does have a script behind it, and you can put um, objections that are commonly said in the prompts area, so that when it hears those trigger words, it will respond accordingly.
Yeah, this one was responding with a little bit of humor, and
Mm.
it seemed like he was throwing it off, and he was saying, well, you know what, I think you're being kind of rude, and the response was, haha, you're funny, I'm not rude. But it it seemed really conversational. It seemed really conversational, in my
It is.
opinion. The only thing that it was lacking was the speed of the response. You could
Yeah,
tell that it took a little bit of time and then it responded. But I was completely impressed. I didn't join the challenge. I'm in another challenge this week that I got invited to from one of the what we'll call them, the Jones brothers. I'm going to call them, instead of the Jonas brothers, I'm going to call them the Jones brothers. Uh, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm going to say their names.
oh yeah,
Dylan and you know what I'm talking about?
yep.
Yeah. Co-founder of ClickFunnels. They're relaunching One Pager into a new software, and I use One Pager for my moving guide,
Hmm.
ClickFunnels 2.0 moving guide. So and they're rebranding it to a different name and
Hmm.
more upgraded features. And so they have a little challenge. And man, there's not a lot of people in that group, but the information is good.
You want to know what's cool?
What's cool?
I made the sales page.
No crap. You did?
Yeah, I made the sales page because I when he put the post out there, and I was like, I put a question on there on if it's going to change any of the links or lose any of the stuff that's already in there. Because I mean, I have my one little lead magnet in there. I haven't, um, I also haven't bought the whole thing, but I got my one little free lead magnet in there. But all of Russell's trainings and things like that were in there from
One pager.
you know
Well, you're no from One Funnel Away challenge.
the Your First Funnel Challenge.
And the One Funnel Away, the second version of One Funnel Away, that's when he was really promoting the one pager. So every day of that 30-day challenge, there's a one pager in One Funnel Away too. Yeah.
Okay, well, I didn't save any of those, but for the magnetic marketing ones and the Your First Funnel Challenge and then the 5-day lead challenge, I have those in there and I reference those all the time for quick tips and ideas and things like that. And that's what I kind of mentioned to him, and that's what he used to put me on the sales page. So my name's on there, business and everything like that. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And you're on the sales page. I can't believe I didn't notice it. I'll have to go back. I'm going to go back and check it out.
So like when they launch it, like when they launch it for that funnel page sign up, when it goes down to the testimonial deal, you'll have to look and see because I think he just made it today.
Yeah. It's launching today because I had recommended it to someone and they were completely uh oh man, they were so happy that I referred to him. They were like, "Oh my gosh, you were a send from God." And I was like, "Yeah, I am." Yes, I am a godsend. We got one more tip to show you on how to get more focus, how to get that focus. One more tip to get more focus out of your day. And here it is. You want to completely unplug when you're done and actively recover. I'm always going, man. I am always going 24/7. And sometimes people look at me and this is what I always say, Brandon. I'm going to tell you that my 60% is better than most people's 100%.
Nice. I would not say the same. I'm either up and on it, or I am completely out of the game, uninterested, and just going with it.
Yeah. So he does say that in order to really uh, get the most from your work days, and when you are having those focus days, you need to unplug sometimes. And I can absolutely relate because there are times when you ever feel like you just hit a wall.
At times, yeah.
You ever feel like you just like, man, I've been looking at this and I don't know, I've been doing it for so long. I think it happened to me the other day because my mind starts drifting, and next thing you know, I'm over on well, thank goodness I don't have TikTok on my phone. So so
It's the worst. It's the worst.
thank goodness I don't have TikTok on my phone. So I can imagine if you're out there and you have TikTok on your phone. Oh my gosh. How many hours do you lose on TikTok?
Well, I usually scroll right before bed, so um, I don't know, maybe a half hour to an hour. I'm scrolling before I just decide to crash and fall asleep. It's become a habit now, and I need to break it. And if it's not TikToks, it's YouTube Shorts. Um, I've gotten more into the YouTube deal than TikTok, but it took a while to get into YouTube because YouTube, when it first came out, the algorithm didn't know what I liked or what, and it would just show me the dumbest thing. So I just didn't really watch it that much. But now it's showing me stuff that I like, so it's like, well, it got me.
Yeah, it's figured you out.
Yeah, took a while.
It has figured you out. All right. And that is it for the chapter today. Okay, before we sign off, we got one chapter left, Brandon. We got
Hmm.
one chapter left in this book. Did we already discuss our next book? We're gonna have to start. We should start. We should plan out the whole year and actually put a schedule to kind of condense these books so we can get more in. What do you think? What we need to 10x our book reading.
Hmm. Yeah, sounds good to me. I don't know what the next book would be or should be. Heard a podcast today, comes out every Friday, Magnetic Marketing Deal, and they were talking about marketing to the affluent. I just recently got that on Audible, and that um, could be the one to do because, as you know, it's an election year. The storm is coming, and ad costs are going to be going through the roof due to all the political stuff. So, got to
We
figure
have
out a
a
new angle
we
and
have a
slant
ton of
and get the right people.
we have a ton of books still from Funnel Hacking Live. We've got I say a ton of books, but yeah, challenge secrets. I don't think I want to read challenge secrets. That's just going to really be about probably. I don't
Yeah.
know. I actually haven't opened that book.
Well, I mean, this one, I mean, the last book was a self development book, so I think we should get an application book. Um, moving it forward. So some type of sales book.
We haven't done 100 million leads. I know you've got it. You've been hiding out with a couple of extra copies of it.
I got an extra copy sitting on my bookshelf over there. I'm mad I gave one away.
Gathering dust.
I read them. Okay. Well, I read one of them. I didn't read both copies. It's the same thing, right? But I read it.
You can't read all copies.
I can write in one and keep one fresh. Keep one fresh and write in the other.
Yeah. Anybody written any good, like any recent release on books that you've seen?
Not that I've seen or paid attention to.
Yeah,
Cardone just released a book. I don't know what it's called though, but I'm reading it. Oh no, I'm terrible.
You don't know what it's called, but you're reading it. Come on, Brandon. All right. Well, we're past time. So yeah, so we'll make that decision and we'll come on next week and we'll have a decision on what our next book is that we'll be reading right here on Pitch Practice, the show. Thanks for tuning in, everyone out there. Don't forget, next time, same bat time, same bat station, and take care of yourself. We'll see you next week.
Take care.
All right, bye. Man, bye. we went for almost an hour.